Zun's dark past, philosophy, quantum mechanics. Like many unresolved mysteries in Touhou, Rumia's ribbon has many theories about what it does. I mean, Zun said it holds some secret within, but still hasn't given more info to this day. In this totally serious and grounded in fact video, I'll be matching my brain's wavelength with his and perusing his thoughts to find just what secret he meant. By the end, I hope you have some idea of what you think the ribbon does. The ribbon serves as a secret final spell card that shrouds everyone and everything around her in darkness, and she can utilize this darkness in ways you wouldn't expect. I suspect it would look something like Chimera Shadow Garden from Jujutsu Kaisen, but maybe without the Shikigami. It'd create a huge bubble around her and her opponent. There's a catch for it in that she wouldn't be able to see either, but maybe that isn't an issue. Keep in mind that she can't remove the ribbon even if she sometimes wants to, so someone else would have to remove it for her to activate her spell card. And in that case, it seems to me like she should collaborate with the 3 Fairies of Light. If she does that, maybe her final spell card can be called True Eclipse or something. Her collaboration with the 3 Fairies of Light would probably substantialize as a follow-up game to the Great Fairy Wars game. In the game, I'm sure the 3 Fairies would have some wacky idea and they would want Rumia to get involved with their schemes. And if the 3 Fairies are involved, Cherno would probably have to get involved to keep with the previous game. Like the original game, Cherno thematically works as a foil to the 3 Fairies because ice reflects and refracts light, but Cherno wouldn't have that advantage with Rumia since Rumia manipulates darkness. That makes it pretty interesting to think about. Also, the 3 Fairies may somehow be dumber than Rumia, so Rumia might become the extra stage boss by default. Rumia's ribbon is a link to our world. I know, but hear me out. So we know the ribbon seals a secret that we have not been told yet, and we know Rumia has a power to control darkness. Now what if Fumos aren't actually from our world? What if, in the far future, Rumia's ribbon was untied and it created a black hole that consumed all of Gensokyo? Keep in mind, a black hole sucks in light, so in other words, it creates an absence of it. It creates dark. And Rumia has the power to create dark. Now what if when the people of Gensokyo were sucked through it, they shedded their mortal coil and turned into a marketable plushie? I know it sounds absurd, but hear me out. What company makes Fumos? That's right, gift. What do you wrap gifts in? That's right, ribbons. I think there's more than this in Zun lets on. What if he didn't create Gensokyo, but found it instead? What if the official Touhou games are actually fan games of a real thing? I don't know. What do you think? The ribbon sealed PC98. Okay, this one has some logic to it actually. The ribbon is a symbolic reference to the bygone era that is PC98. Think about it. What if the ribbon represents tying something up to keep it in place, and actually limits Rumia's power to control darkness, like the last theory mentioned? What if Zun is embarrassed about PC98's canon, seeing it as a darkness, and what if Rumia has a reference to how he limits the canon that spills over into the Windows era by putting the canon in a limbo, or in other words, binding his darkness that he is embarrassed about? It's completely normal to be embarrassed about old things you created, and I doubt Zun is an exception. This is also backed up by the fact that Rumia is the first character you see in the game, which may indicate his desire to get the question out of the way as quick as possible. There is some logic to this theory, but I think it can mostly be debunked by being too crazy to believe, on top of the fact that Alice and Yuka have returned from PC98. I think he hates Mima though. Sorry, Mima. The ribbon is a liar. I know it doesn't sound interesting, but there's a good philosophical explanation for this. Many people think the ribbon houses a great evil, but what if it's been fake all along? I want to bring up the philosopher Mencius. Mencius believed that humans are born naturally good, and that evil actions are caused by external influence. There's an argument to be made here that acting evil in this case is more evil than someone that is born evil, because it goes against the natural part of being human. As a foil to that very notion, the philosopher Shunzi is important. While Mencius believed that all humans were born fundamentally good, Shunzi believed that all humans were born fundamentally evil. This would make good actions intentional, and therefore even more good than someone naturally good. Someone who was born evil and made effort to be good for their entire lives would arguably be more good than someone who was naturally good. So how does the ribbon come into play? Well, the ribbon is perceived as evil. For the ribbon to be perceived as evil, is it acting evil, or was it merely created as evil? The answer to this question is the single most important thing for what the ribbon functions for. I personally think most people perceive it as evil because they are used to a lot of humans being evil, so they place that fact that it may be housing an evil onto it unfairly. What if behind the scenes it is performing a good so important for the world that it must stay on Rumia's head? What if it is performing the good nature of sealing evil despite being perceived as evil itself? Or what if Rumia was born evil evil and sealed herself with the ribbon in an attempt to strive toward goodness. While she falters by eating the occasional human, maybe she's actually making significant strides toward being good. Perhaps the ribbon also sealed some intelligence with it, and that is why she is commonly seen bumping into trees and shrouding herself in darkness that she can't even see out of. I'll let you answer. Is the ribbon evil, or is the ribbon good? Your choice in the matter may decide what it really is, so answer carefully. In the end, it's all about perception. I personally think it merely acts evil to take the burden of being evil upon itself, but is performing a good. In fact, maybe the act of it taking evil upon itself is good in itself. Okay, so now we are on to the last theory. This one starts with a concept. Quantum mechanics, specifically quantum entanglement, which is the concept that one particle state is related to another particle state. Essentially, it means if thing A changes, thing B will also change instantly, no matter the distance. Now this does not necessarily mean that they are opposing states, just that they change each other. This is more of a pop science explanation, but I don't really have to go into more detail for what I want to say. With that explained, I want to re-establish what I have already stated about her ribbon. Rumia's ribbon is stated to be a charm, but I have repeatedly theorized it to be a seal, like many in the community. That idea is not changing, but maybe what it is sealing has. Let's look at another character for a second, one I have actually briefly covered on this channel before, Alice Margatroyd. Here's what we know about Alice. She's from the PC98 era, and she possesses a grimoire. This grimoire was used in the PC98 era, but we have not seen it used in the Windows era. In the video on her, I mentioned the possibility of it being used to recreate the world, but at the very least, we know it possesses a great power. Now let's get into another notable feature of Alice, her doll making ability. Her dolls are almost always characterized by their blonde hair, white and black attire, and a red ribbon as a headpiece. Now let's look at Rumia. Blonde hair, white and black attire, and red ribbon. They are remarkably similar. It is possible that Rumia herself is a doll of Alice's given these similarities, but the theory doesn't end there. Let's look at Alice's PC98 design. Blonde hair, white and blue attire, and the blue ribbon in her hair. Okay, so Rumia and Alice have the same hair color, but opposite colors for their hair tie. On top of that, they even have the same pose where they have their arms outstretched to the side. Now you may be wondering how this all relates to quantum entanglement, so let me finally get into it. I mentioned before how I'm pretty confident Rumia's ribbon is a seal, but I have yet to mention the actual reason I brought Alice into this theory. Following PC98, Alice's grimoire had something added around it, a seal, characterized with a ribbon and lock. A seal with a red ribbon. Rumia and Alice both having ribbons that act as seals is entirely possible. They might be more related than first thought. What if the seal on Alice's grimoire is entangled with the seal on Rumia? And what if when Alice removes the seal on her grimoire, Rumia will be unsealed herself? Rumia is largely stated to be purposeless and aimless in nature, but what if that is by design? What if after the events of PC98, Alice vowed to never open her grimoire again, perhaps after recreating the world? She created the seal on it herself, along with Rumia as a doll that only has the purpose of being unsealed if the grimoire itself is unsealed. Her aimless nature may be by design to prevent her from getting too involved with anything, so that if the grimoire is unsealed, she can stop it at a moment's notice. In other words, her aimlessness may be a nod to her merely being an observer, so that it hits on the quantum mechanics motif. It could also mean that she is only dumb because of the ribbon. Along with that, the similar but opposite designs of their ribbons implies that they may be quantum opposites. They are similar in that they are closely tied to each other, but opposites in that Rumia is meant to stop Alice. Another thing is that Alice's design that opposes Rumia's is from PC98. So what if the Alice of PC98 actually recreated the world using the grimoire, then sealed the grimoire to prevent its power from corrupting, and created Rumia as a failsafe that would fight an unsealed grimoire user? Alice's recreated world could tie to the light of creation, and Rumia could tie to the darkness that opposes it. Current Alice may not even have a clue, but PC98 Alice may have built this failsafe into her own life intentionally to prevent the grimoire from ever being used again. Well, there you have it. Rumia is a character that is rather difficult to create theories for, since she is basically useless as a character, so I had to really make some reaches for this one. Anyways, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next video. I suspect it would look something like Chimera Shadow Card. It's so fucking stupid, bro.